Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyatam Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitam Scha Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyanajana Shalakaya Chakshurun militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Gurganana Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwa Gurunsha Divyad Bhagavat Premnavi Jap Radam Devam Divyatanum Suchanda Varanam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubhadam Madeka Sharanam Nyasishvara Shidaram Mansha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahaprabhu Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're reading from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Antya-lila chapter 9, the deliverance of Gopinath Pattanayaka. This is verse number 69. Tomara bhajana fale, tomate premadan, vishai lage tomai bhaje se murkajan. Kashi Mishra said, if one engages in devotional service for your satisfaction, this will result in his increasingly awakening his dormant love for you. But if one engages in your devotional service for material purposes, he should be considered a number one fool. Tomalage Ramananda Raja Tyaga Koila. Tomalage Sanatana Vishai Chadila. It is only for your sake that Ramananda Ray resigned from the governorship of South India, and Sanatana Goswami gave up his post as minister. It's only for your sake that Ramananda Ray resigned from the governorship of South India, and Sanatana Goswami gave up his post as minister. Tomalagi Raguna Sakala Chadila Hitaya Tahara Pita Vishaya Pataila. It is for your sake that Raghunath Das gave up all his family relationships. His father sent money and men here to serve him. Tomara chanana kripa hayache tahare chatre mage kai vishai sparsha nahi kore. However, because he has received the mercy of your lotus feet, he does not even accept his father's money. Instead, he eats by begging alms from centers for the distribution of food. Ramananda Ray Gopinath Mahashai Tomahoide Vishai Bancha Tara Ichanoi. Gopinath Pattanayaka is a good gentleman. He does not desire material benefits from you. Tara Duka Deki Tara Seva Karigan Tomare Chanaila Jate Ananya Sharan. It is not Gopinath who sent all those men so that you would release him from his plight. Rather, his friends and servants sing his distressed condition, inform you because they all knew that Gopinath is a soul surrendered unto you. Say Shuddha Bhakta Jay Toma Bhaje Toma Lagi Apanara Sukha Duke Hoy Boga Bogi. Gopinath Pattanayaka is a Shuddha Bhakta, is a pure devotee who worships you only for your satisfaction. He does not care about his personal happiness or distress, for that is the business of a materialist. Tomara anukalpa chahe bhaje anukan, achirat militare tomara charan. One who engages in your devotional service 24 hours a day, desiring only your mercy, will very soon attain shelter at your lotus feet. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano punjana vatma kritam vipakam ridvag vapurbir vidada namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadayabak. One who seeks your compassion and thus tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions due to the karma of his past deeds, who engages always in your devotional service with his mind, words, and body, and who always offers obeisances unto you, is certainly a bona fide candidate for becoming your unalloyed devotee. So one who seeks your compassion and thus tolerates all kinds of adverse conditions due to the karma of his past deeds, who engages always in your devotional service with his mind, words, and body, and who always offers obeisances unto you, is certainly a bona fide candidate for becoming your unalloyed devotee. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano bunjane vatma kritam vipakam ridvag vapurbir vidada namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadayabak. Eta tumi vashiraha kene jabe alanath kehotoma sashunabe vishayarabad. Kindly stay here at Jagannath Puri. Why should you go to Alalanath? Henceforward no one will approach you about material affairs. Jade ba tomaratare rakite hoiman ajije rakila se koribe rakan. Finally, Kashi Mishra told the Lord, if you want to give protection to Gopinath, then Lord Jagannath, who protected him today, will also protect him in the future. Eta boli Kashi Mishra gela swab mandire madhyane prataparudra aila taragare. After saying this, Kashi Mishra left the abode of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and returned to his own temple. At noon, King Prataparudra came to visit Kashi Mishra's home. Prataparudra ek achaye niyame jatadina raheteho Shri Purushottame. As long as Maharaj Prataparudra stayed in Purushottama, he performed one regular duty. Nitya ase kore mishar para sambahan Jagannatha Sevarakori Biyana Shravan. He would come daily to the house of Kashi Mishra to massage his lotus feet. The king would also hear from him about how opulently Lord Jagannath was being served. Raja Mishra Charana Jabi Chapite Lagila Tabi Mishra Tarikechu Bangite Kohila. When the king began pressing his lotus feet, Kashi Mishra informed him about something through hints. Devashuna ara eg aparupabat Mahaprabhu ketra chari jabena alalanath. My dear king, he said, please hear one uncommon item of news. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to leave Jagannath Puri and go to Alalanath. Shuni Raja Duki Hoila Puchi Lena Karan Tabimisha Kohitare Savivaran. When the king heard that Mahaprabhu was going to Alalanath, he was very unhappy and inquired about the reason. Then Kashi Mishra informed him of all the details. Gopinath Pattanayaka Chabe Change Chadaila Tara Sevak Sab Ashi Prabhure Kohila. When Gopinath Pattanayaka was lifted onto the Changi, he said, all his servants went to inform Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shunya Kobita Hoila Mahaprabhu Man. Krode Gopinath Koila Bahuta Bartsan. Hearing about this, Mahaprabhu was extremely sorry at heart, and in anger he chastised Gopinath Pattanayaka. Ajitendriya Hana Kore Raja Vishai Nana Asat Pate Kore Raja Dravya Bhyai. Because he is mad after sense gratification, the Lord said, he acts as a government servant but spends the government revenue for various sinful activities. Brahmasva Adika E Hoy Rajadan Taha Hari Boga Kore Mahapapijan. The revenue of the government is more sacred than the property of a Brahmin. One who misappropriates the government's money and uses it to enjoy sense gratification is most sinful. Rajara Vartana Kaya Ara Churi Kore Rajadanya Hoy Se Shastrara Vichare. One who serves the government but misappropriates the government's revenue is liable to be punished by the king. That is the verdict of all revealed scriptures. Nija Kori Mage Raja Nahi Kori Danda Rajam Mahadharmika E Hoy Papi Banda. The king wanted his revenue paid and did not want to enforce punishment. Therefore the king is certainly very religious, but Gopinath Pattanayaka is a great cheat. Rajakari Nadeya Amare Fukare Emahaduka Ihan Ke Sahite Pare. He does not pay the revenue to the king, but he wants my help for release. This is a greatly sinful affair. I cannot tolerate it here. Alalanata Jai Tahan Nischinte Rahimu Vishayara Balomanda Bhartana Shunimu. Therefore I shall leave Jagannath Puri and go to Alalanath, where I shall live peacefully and not hear about all these affairs of materialistic people. Eta Shuni Kohe Raja Payamane Byata Sab Dravya Charon Jari Prabhu Rohena Eta. When Maharaj Prachaparudra heard all these details, he felt great pain in his mind. I shall give up all that is due from Gopinath Pattanayaka, he said, if Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will stay here at Jagannath Puri. Eka Kana Prabhu Jari Paye Darshan Koti Chintamane Lab Nahe Tarasam. If even for a moment I could get the darshan with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I would not care for the profit of millions of Chintamani stones. I wouldn't care for the profit of millions of the most valuable jewels. Konchara Padartha E Dui Lakakahan Pranaraja Karon Prabhu Pade Nirmachan. I do not care about this small sum of 200,000 kahanas. What to speak of this? I would indeed sacrifice everything at the lotus feet of the Lord, including my life and kingdom. Mishra Kohe Kodi Chadiba Nahi Prabhorman Taraduka Pai Ena Jai Sahan. Kashi Mishra hinted to the king, it is not the Lord's desire that you forfeit the money. He is unhappy only because the whole family is troubled. Raja Kohe Tariyami Duka Nahidiye Change Chara Kaje Dara Amina Janiye. The king replied, I had no desire to give pain to Gopinath Pattanayaka and his family, nor did I know about his being lifted onto the chunga to be thrown on the swords and killed. Purushottama Janarite Hokoila Parihas Se Janatari Dekaila Mityatras. He sneered at Purushottama Jan. Therefore the prince tried to scare him as a punishment. Tumijaha Prabhure Rakaha Jatnakori Emui Tahare Chadinu Sabkodi. Go personally to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and keep him at Jagannath Puri with great attention. I shall excuse Gopinath Pattanayaka from all his debts. Mishra kohe kode chadiba nahe prabhu mane kode chadile prabhu karachit dukamane. Kashi Mishra said, excusing Gopinath Pattanayaka of all his debts will make the Lord unhappy, for that is not his intention. Raja kohe kode chadimu ihana kahiba sahaje mora priyatara iha janaiba. The king said, I shall absolve Gopinath Pattanayaka of all his debts, but don't speak of this to the Lord. Simply let him know that all the family members of Bhavananda Ray, including Gopinath Pattanayaka, are naturally my dear friends. Bhavananda Ray Amar Puja Garbita Taraputra Gane Amar Sahaje Prita. Bhavananda Ray is worthy of my worship and respect. Therefore, I am always naturally affectionate to his sons. Eta bole mishre namaskare rajagare gela gopinate bora janai dakiya anila. After offering obeisances to Kashi Mishra, the king returned to his palace and called for both Gopinatha and the eldest prince. Raja kohe sab kode tomare chadilun Se malajatya danda pata tomareta dilun. The king told Gopinath Pattanayaka, you are excused for all the money you owe the treasury, and the places known as Malajatya Dandapat is again, given to you for collections. Arabara Aichena Kahia Rajadan Aje Hoite Dilun Tomai Duiguna Bartan. Do not again misappropriate the revenue of the government. In case you think your salary insufficient, henceforward it will be doubled. Etaboli neta doti taraparaila prabhu agya loya jaha vidai tomadila. After saying this, the king appointed him by offering him a silken dhoti for his body. Go to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, after taking permission from him, go to your home. I bid you farewell. Now you may go. After saying this, the king appointed him by offering him a silken dhoti for his body, for his use. Go to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, after taking permission from him, go to your home. I bid you farewell. Now you may go. Paramarte prabhur kripa seho rahudure ananta tahara fala ke boldite pare. By the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one can certainly become spiritually advanced. Indeed, no one can estimate the results of his mercy. Raja Vishai Fala E Kripara Abase Tahara Ganana Karo Mane Nahiaishe. Gopinath Pattanayaka achieved the result of kingly opulence due to but a glimpse of the Lord's mercy. Therefore, no one can calculate the full value of his mercy. Kahan Change Chadayalai Danapran Kahan Sab Chadise Rajadi Pradhan. Gopinath Pattanayaka was lifted onto the Changa to be killed, and all his money was taken away, but instead his debts were excused and he was appointed collector in the same place. Kahan Sarvasva Vechi Loy Deyana Jai Kodi Kahan Dwiguna Martana Paraya Nitadari. On one hand, Gopinath Pattanayaka was unable to clear his debt, even by selling all his possessions. But on the other, his salary was doubled, and he was honored with a silken wrapper. He was honored with a silk dhoti. Prabhuricha nahi tare kodi charaibe. Duiguna vartana kore puna vishai dive. On one hand, Gopinath Pattanayaka was unable to clear his debt even by selling all his possessions, but on the other, his salary was doubled and he was honored with a silk dhoti. It was not the desire of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Gopinath Pattanayaka be excused of his debt to the government, nor was it his desire that his salary be doubled or that he be reappointed collector at the same place. Tatapi tara sebakashe koila nibedan, tate kuda hoila jabe Mahaprabhu. When Gopinath Pattanayaka's servant went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and informed the Lord of his plight, the Lord was somewhat agitated and dissatisfied. Vishai sukha dite prabhur nahi manobal, nivedana prabhaveha tabu fale etaval. The Lord had no intention of awarding his devotee the happiness of material opulence, yet simply because of his being informed, such a great result was obtained. Ke kohite pare gorer ascharya swabhab, Brahmashiva adijara napai antarbhav. No one can estimate the wonderful characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot understand the intentions of the Lord. Etakashi Mishra se Prabhur Charane, Rajara Charitra Sab Koila Nivedane. Kashi Mishra went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and informed him in detail of all the king's intentions. Prabhu Kohe Kashi Mishra ki tumi korila, Raja Pratigraha tumi amakoraila. Upon hearing about Kashi Mishra's tactics with the king, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Kashi Mishra, what have you done? You have made me indirectly take help from the king. When the king heard about the details of Gopinath Pattanayaka's unfortunate condemnation, he was induced to excuse his debt, in particular because he felt that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very sorry about this incident. The Lord did not like the idea that the money forfeited to Gopinath Pattanayaka was indirectly a contribution to him. Therefore, he immediately protested. Mishra kohe shuna prabhu raja rabachane akapate raja e koila nivedane. Kashi Mishra said, my dear Lord, the king has done this without reservations. Kindly hear his statement. Prabhu jena nahi janan raja amar lagia. Dui laka kahan kode dileka chadiya. The king said, speak to the Lord in such a way he will not think, for my sake the king has forfeited 200,000 kahanas of kodis. The kodi is like an American cent or Japanese yen. In the old medium of exchange, the first unit of currency was a small conch shell called a kodi. 4 kodis made 1 ganda, 20 gandas made 1 pana, and 16 panas made 1 kahana. Gopinath Pattanayaka owed the government 200,000 kahanas. The king absolved him of this debt, reappointed him to his post, and doubled his salary. Bhavananda putrasa mora priyatam iha savakaryami deki atmasam. Inform Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that all the sons of Bhavananda Ray are especially dear to me. I consider them like members of my family. Ateva jahan de adhikar kaya piye lute vilai nakarom vichar. Therefore I have appointed them collectors in various places. And although they spend the government's money, eat, drink, plunder, and distribute it as they like, I do not take them very seriously. Raja Mahindar Raja Koinu Ramarai Jai Kaila Jebadila Nahilekadai. I made Ramananda Ray the governor of Raja Mahendri. There is practically no account of whatever money he took and distributed in that position. Near Raja Mahendrias, okay. I went to Raja Mahendrias where Mahaprabhu met with Ramananda Ray. I went near that. I went to that Raja Mahendri, near the Godavari. Gopinath Mata Vishai Korea Duichari Lakakahan Raheta Kana. Having been appointed collector, Gopinath in the same way also generally spends 200,000 to 400 kahanas as he likes. Kichudeya Kichunadeya Nakori Bichar Janasahita Aprite Duka Paila Ebar. Gopinath Pattanayaka would collect some and pay some, spending it at will. But I would not consider this very seriously. This time, however, he was put into trouble because of a misunderstanding with the prince. Jana eta koila iha muinahi janon bhavanander putra sabe atmasama manon. The prince created the situation without my knowledge, but actually I consider all the sons of Bhavananda Ray to be like my relatives. So the prince created the situation because the prince felt that Gopinath Pattanayaka insulted him. The prince had a personal idiosyncrasy that while he was talking, he would look at the sky and move his head from one side to the other, kind of like this. And then Gopinath Pattanayaka, when he owed money to the government, he had been buying some racehorses or some special horses. So he said, take these horses at a proper price and that can use that money to pay off my debt to the government. He owed the government money. But the prince, who was expert in appraising horses, put a very low price on them. Just trying to squeeze more money out of Gopinath Pattanayaka. So then Gopinath Pattanayaka became upset, and he said, "Why did you put such a low price on my horses? They don't look at the sky and move their head back and forth, kind of like you. So they shouldn't be appraised so low. They're worth more than that." So the prince was very angry at Gopinath Pattanayaka's remark about the horses not looking at the sky like him. So then he told the king, if you like, I'll scare Gopinath Pattanayaka. And the king said, whatever you want to do, but just see if you can get the money. So he put him up on the chunga, which has swords below, like they're going to throw him onto the swords. That was his way of saying he would scare Gopinath Pattanayaka, like he was going to raise him up onto the scaffold and kill him. So when that happened, everyone came to Mahaprabhu and disturbed him and Mahaprabhu because they're trying to save Gopinath Pattanayaka. But Mahaprabhu was very, very disturbed by so many people coming to him. Oh, as a result of all Mahaprabhu's mercy, Gopinath Pattanayaka was saved. His salary was doubled and everything. But Mahaprabhu didn't like that his name was being used by Kashi Mishra to clear the debt of Gopinath Pattanayaka. So the king's now saying, Jane eta koila iha muinahi janon Bhavanander putra savi atma samamanon. The prince created the situation without my knowledge, But actually I consider all the sons of Bhavananda Ray to be like my relatives, like my own family. Tahalage drabya chade iha matchane sahaje mora priti hoy tahaj sane. Because of my intimate relationship with them, I have absolved Gopinath Pattanayaka of all his debts. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not know this fact. Whatever I have done is because of my intimate relationship with the family of Bhavananda Ray. Shunya Rajarvinay Prabhurananda Hinakali Aila Tata Rai Bhavananda. Having heard from Kashi Mishra all these statements concerning the king's mentality, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy. At that time, Bhavananda Ray arrived there. Panchaputra Saitayashi Padilacharane Utaya Prabhutare Koila Lingane. Bhavananda Ray, along with his five sons, fell at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who lifted him up and embraced him. Ramananda Royadi Sabai Milila Bhavananda Ray Tabe Bolite Lagila. Thus Ramananda Ray, all his brothers and their father met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Bhavananda Ray began speaking. Tomara Kinkare Sab Morakula E Vipade Raki Prabhu Puna Nilamula. All these members of my family, he said, are your eternal servants. You have saved us from this great danger. Therefore, you have purchased us for a proper price. Bhakta Vatsalya Ebe Prakata Korila Purve Jena Pancha Pandabe Vipade Tarila. You have now demonstrated your love for your devotees, just as when you previously saved the 5 Pandavas from great danger. Netta Doti Mate Gopinatha Charane Parila Rajara Kripa Britta Sakala Kohila. Gopinath Pattanayaka, his head covered with a silk dhoti, fell at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and described in detail all the king's mercy toward him. Baki Kodi Bora Ara Dwiguna Varta Koila Puna Vishaidiya Nita Doti Parala. The king has excused me for the balance due, he said. He has reappointed me to my post by honoring me with his silk cloth and has doubled my salary. Kahan Changaru Para Se Marana Pramada Kahaneta Doti Puna Esa Prashad. I was lifted upon the Changa to be killed, but instead I was honored with his silk cloth. This is all your mercy. Changaru Pari Tomar Charana Jana Koilun Charana Smarana Prabhave E Fala Pailun. On the Changa I began meditating upon your lotus feet, and the power of that remembrance has yielded all these results. Tabe Chamatkara Mora E Sabdakiya Prashamshe Tomar Kripa Mahima Gana. Struck with mercy by my affairs, the populace is glorifying the greatness of your mercy. Struck with wonder by my affairs, the populace is glorifying the greatness of your mercy. Gopinath Pattanayaka, saying everyone is considering this is all Mahaprabhu's mercy. Kintu tomar smaranera nahi e mukyafal valabasha e jate vishaya chancha. However, my Lord, these are not the principal results of meditating upon your lotus feet. Material opulence is very flickering. Therefore, it is simply a glimpse of the result of your mercy. Ramarai vaninate koilan nirvishai se kripa motenahi jati aiche hoy. Your real mercy has been granted to Ramananda Ray and Vaninath Ray, for you have detached them from all material opulence. I think that I have not been favored by such mercy. Shuddha kripa kore gosai Guchaha Vishai Nirvina Hoinu Mote Vishai Na Hoi. Kindly bestow upon me your pure mercy, so that I may also become renounced. I am no longer interested in material enjoyment. Prabhu kohe sannyasi jabe hoiba panchajan kutumba bahuya tomar ke kore baran. Mahaprabhu said, if you all become sannyasis and lose interest in dealing with pounds, shilling, and pence, you lose interest in dealing with money, who will take charge of maintaining your large family? Mahavishai kora kiba virakta udas janme janme tumi panchamora nijadas. Whether you are involved in material activities or become completely renounced, you 5 brothers are my eternal servants, birth after birth. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that one should always remember that he is eternally a servant of Krishna. Whether one is engaged in material activity involving pounds, shillings, and pence, or is in the renounced order, he should always think that he is an eternal servant of God, for that is the real position of the living being. Both taking sannyas and dealing in pounds, shillings, and pence are external affairs. In any condition, one should always consider how to please and satisfy Krishna. Thus, even if one is involved in great material affairs, he will not become attached. As soon as one forgets that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, he becomes involved in material attachments. However, if one is always conscious that Krishna is the Supreme Master and that he is an eternal servant of Krishna, he is a liberated person in any condition. Entangling material activities will not affect him. Kintu mora koryag agyapalan vyayana korya kichu rajaramuladan. However, just obey one order from me. Do not spend any of the king's revenue. Rajaramuladana diya jay kichu labyahoy sedana korya mana dharme karme vyay. First, you should pay the revenue due to the king, and then you may spend the balance for religious and fruitive activities. Asad vyayana korya jate due lokajai eta bole sabakore dilena vidai. Don't spend a farthing for sinful activities, for which you will be the loser, both in this life and the next. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade them farewell. Raya ragare prabhur kripa vivarta kohila bhakta vatsaya guna jate vyakta hoila. Thus the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was spoken of in the family of Bhavananda Ray. That mercy was clearly demonstrated, although it appeared to be something different. Sabaya Lingiya Prabhu Vidai Jabedila Haridwani Korisa Bhakta Utegela. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced them all and bade them farewell. Then the devotees got up and left, loudly chanting the holy name of Hari. Prabhura Kripa Deki Sabar Hoila Chamatkar Tahara Bujite Nare Prabhura Vyabahar. Seeing the extraordinary mercy the Lord granted to the family of Bhavananda Ray, everyone was struck with wonder. They could not understand the behavior of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tarasabi Jadi Kripa Korites Sadila Ama Hoite Kichunahe Prabhur Tabe Kahila. Indeed, when all the devotees had requested the Lord to bestow his mercy upon Gopinath Pattanayaka, the Lord had replied that he could do nothing. Gopinath der Nindara Apana Nirbide. Gopinath der Ninda Ara Apana Nirbed. E Matra Kohila Iharna Bujibe Bed. I have simply described the chastisement of Gopinath Pattanayaka and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's indifference. But the deep meaning of this behavior is very difficult to understand. Kashimishre nas shadila rajare na sadila Udyoga Bina Mahaprabhu Etafala. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave so much to Gopinath Pattanayaka without directly making request of either Kashi Mishra or the king. Chaitanya Charitamrita Parama Gambhir Se Buje Tarapade Jaramanadir. The intentions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are so deep that one can understand them only if he has complete faith and service to the lotus feet of the Lord. Jai Ihan Shune Prabhu Vatsalya Prakash Prema Bhakti Paitara Vipara Jai Nash Jai Ihan Shune Prabhu Vatsalya Prakash Prema Bhakti Paitara Vipara Jai Nash. Whether or not one understands it, if one hears of this incident concerning the activities of Gopinath Pattanayaka and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's causeless mercy upon him, certainly he will be promoted to the platform of ecstatic love for the Lord, and for him all dangers will be nullified. Shri Rupa Raghunath Parijana As Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishnadas, praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I Krishnadas narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya-lila, 9th chapter describing the deliverance of Gopinath Pattanayaka and the manifestation of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's causeless mercy to his devotee. Okay. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama. Can you give me the cartos there? Thank you. Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Hariharaya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Mananaman Giridhari Gopinatha Mananaman Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Dharadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Dharadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatam Bhakta Raghunath Jai Rupa Sanatam Bhakta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Rasa Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Rasa Raghunath Echai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Echai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Vignana Shabista Puran Jai Vignana Shabista Puran Echai Gosai Jarmui Tarana Echai Gosai Jarmui Tarana Tasamar Bada Henu Mora Panchagra Sabar Bada Henu Mora Panchagra Hare Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Hare Charana Sevi Bhakta Janame More Abhilas Janame More Abhilas Echai Gosai Jabe Bhaje Koilabas Echai Gosai Jabe Bhaje Koilabas Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Jayaman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Jayaman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyan. Harinam Sankirtana Kore Narathamuda. Harinam Sankirtana Kore Narathamuda. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Koriyan. Harinam Sankirtana Kore Narathamuda. Harinam Sankirtana Kore Narathamuda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Aisa Parikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshira Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanukla Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadasha Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Vishvavarenya Shila Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvavarenya Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ram Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Kuladvip Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.